So the effects, I like to put a green screen. Trending, I want a green screen, I don't want that. I want a green screen. What is this now? Running in the deep. Lately I've been walking in the streets. That's any kind of effect gani. I'm looking for a beauty effect and then we start. Tukwaria tumaudu tuige, should men be doing what we call wife inheritance? Should we return wife inheritance? Wagawa mudu atiga mwana gana mudu mathino muka wake kuoyagwo ni brother ciake na maundu ta mau. Should we bring back wife inheritance na vitu kama hivyo? Some of the questions we should be asking ourselves. Some of the questions twagona gukorwo tukiuria tondu haria turi nitukinyite handu nturabatara gukorwo na those kind of talks. It may look like it's very young, but it's not. It may look like that's not where we are with the conversation, but it is. Okay, so those are some of the questions. So now imagine this. Okay, I just want you to have some imagination. In whatever state you are in right now, whether it's as a spouse, taken, untaken, whatever situationship you are in, whether you are in Kilimani kind of setups, whatever situationship you are in, whether it's a come we stay kind of setup, it doesn't matter. But the fact remains that to your people, your parents, whom you're not living with, to them they have this fallacy that you are okay, that you are taken care of, that you are married, that you are taken. But is that the reality? And the question is, as an example, today, if you are to leave this world abruptly, will your family be taken care of? Monangodia old age, which atamufikishi, for you to plan this thing. Because we have to wake up to the reality that you could be here today and gone tomorrow. And the same family that you claim that you love, umepeleka international school, there'll be no one to take care of them. Simply because you're already not on talking terms with your own parents. Simply because you're already not healed enough to be looked at a certain way by your family for them to even lift a finger to try and help your family when you are gone. And if you're not having these kind of conversations, then I don't know what kind of conversations we are having on the internet. If you're not having conversations of when you are gone, who's going to take care of your boy, your son, your sons or your daughters when you are gone, just in case, God forbid. But should it happen, who's going to take care of your family when you are gone? When the husband is gone, when your boyfriend, your situationship is gone, do you go back to your mothers with your two sons and daughters? Can your own family take you in? AKA, what happened to the family structure whereby when shit hit the fan, you still had the family to take care of you? Most of you ukiolewa ni hivyo. Afadhali uliwe na bwana kuliko urudi nyumbani kwa sababu there's no home to return to. Because the home that you thought was home was never home. Your parents, the moment you left, that was the end. Babako na mamako wako na mashamba lakini hata huwezi lima. Lakini wanasema wao ni wazazi wako. So should anything happen to you, you can go back to home. You are a girl, you are married, 3 children, 4 children, 5 children. Should anything happen to your Kilimani boyfriend, husband, you can't even go back to your mother with the children because you are gone. Because we remove the family structures that used to take care of our families. AKA, we even demonized wife inheritance. But there's nothing wrong with you taking care of your children that belong to your brother if it involves inheriting the wife. Because you are protecting that which is the family unit that you so claim as Africans to protect. But the moment you went to monotheism and religions, you took away your shields that used to protect you. So now you have children whose parents are dying young. They are left out in the open. They are modern day orphans. They have no one to look up to. They have no father figures, no mother figures. We don't even a culture whereby those that are left without fathers, we take them in. So now that becomes my new mission, to open a school where some of these things are taught. So when the African setup went through a setback, who would take care of the children left behind? If people went to war, who would take care of the children left behind? Because we are at war. War moved from the door to door, people knocking on your door. War became the things you use every day, the things you are lost in, the physical things that your desires are so attracted to, and then it ends up becoming that which you love, ends up becoming that thing that kills you. Being lost in your desires. The allegory of you biting the fruit, aka if your feelings, okay, you are trying to bite the fruit, aka justify, use logic as to why you are biting the fruit. You falling into your feelings, you are Eve. So you're trying to justify yourself, the allegory of biting the fruit. So that which you love end up becoming the thing that kills you. And you have to excuse my camera quality. Okay? Your life may contain themes not suitable for younger audiences that has been age restricted. Life age restricted. Life is restricted for 10 minutes. Wameanza kuniscam. TikTok imekataa, but niko live inaniambia consuming substances featured in this live could harm your health. What substance am I consuming? But I know you are reporting. Najua. So that is how you do. But I'm not live on one thing. I'm also live here. So fuck all of you. I'm not live on one stream. So whoever is reporting, hata hii nikifunga ya TikTok, niko live pale na ile si TikTok. You see? I'm also live there. And that is not TikTok. Because the game is to be sold, not to be told. So we know that there are people out there who just hate on knowledge. So, yeah, you know, when you see knowledge, you feel intimidated because you offer no solutions. Your prayers are offering no solutions. Your father is dying young. Who's taking care of your young ones? Mtoto wako form 1, form 2 akikufa nani atachukua hiyo mwakimu? Tunaachia single mothers, hiyo mashida yote. Wanarudi kwao. Now we are raising damaged children, boys who have no male figures to emulate them. There's no one who can learn from them. We don't have a society whereby even your uncle's children, uncle yako akikufa watoto wao ni hivyo, wanarudi kwao, mama wanarudi kwao, inaisha. No one is protecting the African woman. When the men die, and they are dying, you're dying every day in hospitals, you're dying young. Go to the cemeteries in Langata, everyone is under 40. All those under 40s, they left babies and children behind. Who's taking care of those wives? Who's taking care of those children? We don't have such structure. We don't have those kind of structures. So how do we deal with all this emotional trauma? First, we have to decode, how do you develop an emotional trauma? How do you develop an emotional trauma? Every time you go through a catastrophic thing, okay, a disaster, and whatever you are going through leaves what you call an emotional scar on you, that's an emotional trauma. That scar, I'll give you an example. Let's say it's a child. They are playing out in the field. Ni sawa. I'll let you know. So let's give an example. Let's say you have a child. Now, let's say you are playing out with your child and there's a bee's nest. Tuteme hiyo mate. Let's say your child acheze hapo karibu na nyuki, achapwe na nyuki. So you see, the child is going to look at you like you betrayed them, because the child is going to look at you like, why didn't you protect me from the bees? Na wewe ndio mtu mzima unafaa kujua. So that kind of shock whereby you go through a catastrophic thing, but there was someone who was supposed to take care of you, but they were not there. That's how you develop what you call an emotional trauma, or what you call your emotions going through what you call a turmoil, where you are unsure. Like, mbona nimepigwa na nyuki na babangu wako hapa? For example, another example, let's say you are teaching your child how to ride a bike. Unamshikilia na kiti, anakuambia usiniachilie dadi, unamshikilia hapo, unaanza kucheka, hehe, unamwachilia juu wewe ni mjinga. Wewe ni mjinga, umefikiria ati ukiachilia mtoto ati ndio atalearn by themselves, forgetting that inaweza kuwa hiyo ni movie, in real life ujui trauma ya mtoto wako, unamwachilia na kiti yake. So the child anaenda bike, anaanguka. From that day onwards, that child will never trust you again. Why? They developed what you can call an emotional trauma, whereby the person who was supposed to take care of them abandoned them. Hata kama ulikuwa hapo au kushika hiyo bike. You get it? It's good to understand all these things before you add names onto them na vitu kama hizo. Sasa huyu ana report. Who is this reporting that we are doing drugs on live here? Yeah. You know, ikizimu ni sawa tu. You can continue on my other channel. I'm also live on Facebook. That's Facebook Live. Na hii ni TikTok. When you are on Facebook, this is TikTok. And it doesn't matter where we are. So now, so there's so many ways that this energy catch up is with you now. Ukiwa mtu mzima, you see that thing that whatever mindset you created around that, your abandonment, your parents should have protected you, they did not. And unaona kwa African context, mtoto angeangushwa kama amebebwa na ngoi, agiawithirio, mwana agiagwithirio, no ginya mburi agiakuire. It was a taboo to drop the baby. Not because you can't drop a baby, because they knew about emotional trauma. So an emotional trauma goes all the way to someone in a coma to explain it. So you know that sometimes you can be in situations whereby you have a flat line. Emergency medical services wanajua. A flat line means you get to a point where you have no heartbeat. So you only have a frequency at a flat line. Ukienda kwa hospitali ukiwa kwa ile kitu ya emergency, hiyo line tu iko flat, is just a frequency. It's not vibrating, there's no life. But now should they take resuscitate you with electricity, aka give your emotional state, your heart, give it a shock, give your emotional state a shock, so that you have some kind of a spark of emotions, energy in motion. Now you have a vibration, now you have life. So that flat line, that frequency now has a vibration. Tip, 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 a heartbeat. Tip. So now the doctor is like, oh, you shook us there, you are almost gone. So that's at that particular moment, what happens to the spirit? At that particular moment, when they are resuscitating you, unakuanga wewe in a state of what you can call emotional turmoil, where your emotions don't know where to go. So they need a spark of imagination, a shock to the heart to spark your life. Okay? So when you're in that situation, that thing, I don't know how they are doctors, they can explain it. Now I'm explaining to you spiritually what it means, not with books. So you're in a situation where you are dealing with emotions, emotional trauma, okay? And your life is chaotic. You are between life and death. Maybe something happened to you that was so traumatic. So you are in an emotional trauma. There's so much chaos in your current event, in your current seas, currently. What is happening? What is happening currently? What is going on that has knocked you out, that you need to be resuscitated? So that energy is usually you. Your life is so chaotic, okay? Because you are not clear about the circumstances and the situations you are in. So maybe you got knocked out. Maybe you fell out of a bike. So you are not clear about the circumstances and the situations happening around you. So that emotional turmoil is what makes you foam at the mouth. You know, to resuscitate you, and they are foaming at the mouth. They are not even incoherent. They cannot understand their emotions. So they are foaming in the mouth. What is to foam? Foaming, when you go to the beach or the ocean, when you have a lot of sea and water crashing onto the rocks, they create foam. So a lot of emotions are going through a hard place, a hard rock, logic. You can't connect the two. So you are foaming at the mouth. You are mercury. You are in turmoil. You are in emotional trauma. Okay? Now, understanding that you are the observer now, you being the observer, observing that. So how does that translate now into you understanding your emotional trauma? Or how do you bring that now into your life and see how it plays out? Now, every time tuseme unataka kujiexplain kwa mtu, and every time ukienda kujiexplain unamwambia ai muthenya ucio agathini ndari ho we, or you explain yourself like ai ndiũ nĩkĩ kĩanyitĩte mũthenya ũcio, or you're explaining yourself like hey, on that day I don't know what had gotten into me. So you feel the need to justify yourself, or you feel the need to apologize or explain yourself every time you are going through that situation of explaining yourself and claiming it was not you, like sijui ni shetani mgani alikuwa amenishika, or sijui nini ilikuwa imeniingia, ama hata siaminingi huyu alikuwa mimi. Every time you're in that position, you're in a position whereby you are in what you can call an emotional trauma manifesting in the present moment, and every time you do that unafaa kurealize, oh shit, kwa nini nimesema hivyo? That means I have some emotional trauma. There was a time I went through some turmoil, and this person now mwenye tuko naye hapa has got nothing to do with that, but the fact that nimesema hivyo, now that reminds me that there was a time I was that. Now you look at the current situation now. Sasa kwenye uko, look at the person you're explaining yourself to. What do they represent to you as a person, place, or thing yenye imefanya useme hiyo kitu? What does that thing represent to you? Now whatever it represents to you, that shows you that that is an emotional trauma or scar that you developed as a child, or that you developed even as a grown-up when you are around people who are never there for you when they were supposed to be there for you. AKA, when our women lose their spouses and there is no structure to hold them in. Hakuna wanaume wa kuinherit wives, hakuna wanaume wa mwanaume akiacha bibi wa kustep in and we take care of this woman, we take care in always shapes and sizes. It doesn't matter whether it is sexually, it has to be taken care of. We take care of these children in the family, all the way to the people who are practicing wife inheritance. Since we don't have these structures, what we are creating now is that we are creating najugaga jarano kiremaine shauto tumurogo wa kimari. What you are trying to heal, you cannot heal because it's what you are giving birth to. Utirwero aso kamukaro tutabete kuhona, tutabete kuhonia. It is all us, it is our creation. Okay? We are not experiencing life. We are creating the experiences that we are experiencing. Whatever we are, this is a creation. Every day we are creating a new day. This is not something that we are experiencing. We are not experiencing. We are not the spirit that is experiencing. We are the spirit creating this, the existence. So when you look at a society where we don't write wills, when your fathers die, you are left fighting for properties, no matter whatever billionaires you are. And those are the people you are emulating. Shout out to the late Jenga Karomes. When we see people embroidered in war, property, children scampering for peanuts, then we can tell we have lost spiritually, because that means we are not living structures where our young ones are protected. AKA, if you are below 40 and above 30, by now unafaa kumeandika structure. If you are to leave this world, how you are supposed to be buried. Even if you don't have much, there's supposed to be a will on how you want your property protected, aka your children. No tagedo esi anasi yaku. You know that your parent hates you, your mother hates you, so you can write it down. If I was to leave this world, in my will, my mother and my father should not touch my children, hata kama ni my grandparents, because you know they hate their children. Hawajai kuja kuona mtoto wako kutoka azaliwe. They don't care. Hata kupigia simu hawajai kuuliza mtoto wako wako aje. So how dare they pretend that they care? They don't care. They don't care. And these are the conversations you should be having. Shout out to Rasgedaiga. Tutuwe matamau. Rasgedaiga ni guthoma. Ũngĩehera rũciũ rwaku family yaku ĩgĩthiĩ kũ? Your beautiful wife agĩthiĩ kũ? Agĩcoka kuona mwana agacokere Meruru. Tondũ hatirĩ mũndũ wa ũkĩmũrera we nĩ wehera as a father figure. Anything can happen. Is there anyone in your family who can protect your wife and children? There's no one. Mutigwa na ginya na brother yaku, who's going to protect your children now when you are gone? Those are the conversations you'll be having today. Not conversations that are not even helping us in any way, shape, or form. Because we are not our forefathers. We are the people living today. Our forefathers, ni mari na nyoba, ni mari na itha kunarika, ni kwari na jama, ciaragagira maundu mau. Thiku ici gutire, tondu twi rungu rwa mwathani law. This is a new world, so we have to come up with new solutions for today's world, not in the past. So that the conversations I like having. Those are the kind of talks I want to hear our men speak about. So when I start something to mentor young boys, and then the people who are supposed to be coming and supporting it, and they are men, are the same people who are destroying it, it shows that we are not ready to grow. Because our boys should be learning now how to be men by looking at us as the men. Are we protecting our women enough and our children? Should anything happen, is it known that in your family, should anything happen, is it known in your family? But what family? Aiko ginya mugoda baba wanyu ndungirima, aiko ginya mugoda mamu wanyu ndungirima, aiko ginya baba wanyu ndagitora ndakugura neire, aiko ginya mamu wanyu ndenda kuona mwana ucio waku, aiko nya ciara ndenda kuona, aiko ciara ndenda kuona. Tuna force issues. We cannot continue forcing issues. We have to deal with these issues now. Tutigituikaga ati kamite ya semania, that is the end. To matigari tura twatigara mwatinegera mutumia ucio ni uguo agathama nyumba tondu angihota guthi na mbere kuria agacoka kuona ciana, anake magacokanĩrio gathonu hau, magatorwo boarding tondu kanyumba ni kanini matikonanage. Those men are going to grow up without father figures. Those women are going to grow up with daddy issues. But those are the conversations we should be talking about. Tugitiga nĩ rũĩ rũrĩkũ tũracokia, tutambĩte ithuĩ kwĩmenya. Nĩ rũĩ rũrĩkũ tũracokia mũkaro, tutambĩte kwĩmenya, our emotional strength. We don't even know how we develop these tensions. No nĩ ũkũigua atĩ mwana agwa na ngoi, warĩ mũgiro mwana kũgũithio kana kũgwa na ngoi, nĩ kũmagio mbũri. Nĩkĩ? Tondũ we knew that emotional trauma yumaga hau. Atĩ rĩrĩa mwana ũcio angĩarangĩrwo nĩ agĩire mũrangira. And most of you nĩ mũgũithĩtio na ngoi. Nĩwarĩraga wĩka na mamu wanyu ndendaga kũmenya, no kĩndũ ehũrithagia harĩa. Tutiramũria nĩ kwenda kũhũrwo kĩndũ. It's normal to get dick. So we are not blaming your mother. Otherwise, how did you come to this world? Your mother was getting dick and your daddy was getting pussy. How did you bring your children here? It's the same thing. Okay? And that's the reality. So we have to get on the ground and start thinking, even ukiwa peke yako. Bogone yagira no na okay. Couldn't resist it, eh? Soul tie. This is a soul tie. Your pets are your soul ties. How you relate with your pets. They die on behalf. This one died. They came back. Eta wasairo. Akinyirwo nĩ ngari. Same character. Kila kitu behavior. Came back. Almost the same skin color. Your soul tie. Nikio iguaga Egyptians mathikagwo na nyausi yao. Nigetha matigamacokie gũkũ mathiru maumĩte othe mathiĩte into bigger minds. Nikio kwarĩ na mummification. Understand life. Where mummification came from. And burying. Na ũhoro wa gũthika andũ waumire kũ. Gũcokia tĩri-inĩ na gũthikĩrĩra. So, if we don't have structures that can prevent or protect our wives, ni kama tunangojea. And the people we are waiting wachukulie hizi mavitu, hawezi chukulia. These are our fathers. These are our mothers. They already hate us. Aiko wewe ndũrĩ magwa baba wanyu, tiga ũtinde weteire another picture. Your father doesn't care about you. Aiko baba wanyu ndenda ũtinde gũtwara ũkagũranĩre. Tiga ũtinde ũkĩra. He doesn't care about you. He may pretend he doesn't. Your mother the same. These are our in-laws. Tondu Gĩkũyũ tutiatirwo na mũndũ wa gũtũrora. Gĩkũyũ na Mũmbi mathiĩ twatigirwo werũ. Ithuĩ twĩ ciana cia ndigwa. The Kikuyu community nĩ ciana cia ndigwa. So tutikoragwo na wa gũtũtongoria wa gũtuonia. We don't have anyone to follow. We don't have anyone to emulate. We are orphans, for lack of a better word. So, as orphans, we need to learn by ourselves now. Koguo mũndũ ndoke kwĩra atĩ maithe maitũ mekaga twatigirwo werũ. Gĩkũyũ na Mũmbi mathiĩ matiacokire. In the Bible it says that God rested, resting in peace. The being that we are in, Draco, the constellation, ĩno tũrĩ, it's a dead being. The same way, if I was to pass on, when my time comes, because I've been getting my lifetimes paid in cash. So I was told I was given 2 lifetimes. One has come to pass. Because when you lose a friend or someone who's close to you, someone you did so many things together, someone who you shared much more than you even shared with your family, that shows that was a spiritual brother to you. Okay? Now, when they are gone, whatever lesson they were supposed to learn, you're supposed to learn it. Okay? And know that that is a life that was taken because you became the witness, not the victim. So in one way, shape, or another, it shows you that you're on a higher spiritual level to become the witness, not the victim. 1, that is where we start. 2, what was the relationship between you two? That was a soul tie. Okay? Because you'd spend so much time together. So again, that is a soul tie that has detached. So you have to learn, now you learn, you have to let that go. You have to learn how to detach from that. So that does not develop into what you call an emotional scar. You learn from it. So instead of you wasting too much time on that, you use that God's way, transmute that death is transformation, and use that transformation for something that is good for God. Make it look beautiful. Make the death of that person look like it was a beautiful thing, and make it look like nothing. So we are going to talk about raising families when the fathers are gone. Let's talk solutions now. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk solutions. Can your wife go to your home? Arememiaga. No arare kwanyu. No anine wiki. No marihire mwana waku sukuru more than one term. Pesa ciakamite citathirite. No marihire ciana ciaku school all the way to the end. No mareke mutumia waku aikare tĩri-inĩ ũcio. Matakũmũ-victimize. Matakũmwĩta mũmaraya. Matakũmũria andũ arĩa ararehe kũu tondũ kũu nĩ gwake. Can they do that? No. So I'm not blaming your in-laws. I'm also not blaming you. Tondũ ndũreretwo wonete ũndũ ũcio mũciĩ. Mũtirĩ ũndũ wa gũ-protect ciana. So as the Gikuyu community you are claiming to be, and shunning things like wife inheritance or having more than one wife. And the reason you cannot even have more than one wife is because you don't even know the disciplines it takes to have more than one wife. Sometimes you have to drop your balls, but you have small balls, Kikuyu men. Your balls are small. You have to start dropping your nuts in your family at your age and saying, "Igikauma goko, aya matikana ume goko." Igieda onatimukana natikirumi because we are clever Kikuyus. Turi andu twinogo. Ugatiga wauga ni wendi wakwa igikorwo itari guku nyumite thi ino ri. Ugikorwo we wendi wakwa andu aya akwa mathi na mbere na guturaga haha na muthi na mbere na kumayukia tondu ni andu akwa ndendanite nao regardless of everything. So should anyone go against that, that is now when that becomes something they have to deal with spiritually. Remember, ndunekira mukana na ndunaruma no ugire ni wendi waku. So in the Bible it speaks about going against your will. May thy will be done, will as chakra, or what you will down, that it rains on you. Will, all the way to writing a will. Ama huku unaona tukikuja hapo kwa will, why do you think it's in the title? Ama hata huku na title ya TikTok wewe. Watu wasomangi. You wanna go viral as the pussy yenye nachukuanga bogo ikigwaragwarwa kichwa. You enjoy being touched on the head, pussy? You like that pussy? I'm touching you well, pussy. Learn how to touch pussy well, pussy cat. Now, so tutari na structure is this, if you're not having this kind of conversations now, I don't want to have a conversation with you. I don't want to waste time with you. And we cannot sail on the same boat. I'm not on the same boat with you. Because unless you know how to create a Noah's Ark, nimeara ho. This nĩguo mũndũ akoragwo athondekete Noah's Ark, the first flooding from Aries, Baal, that is Aries, Yahweh, the first house, Baal, Canaan, second house, Gemini, the shoulders, Sodom and Gomorrah. So by the time you get to Cancer, the fourth house, Jerusalem, you have the great flooding, Kimera Kiabere. So you create your Noah's Ark, so you can take two of a kind. What do I mean? You take two of each thought and feeling. Two of a kind means the masculine and the feminine, the thought and feeling of that. So let's say, for example, you are no longer here and you have left your family. So you have to take the thought of that. What do we think is going to happen to your family? And the feeling of that, two of a kind, how are we going to feel about it? How is your family going to feel when you give them a house? How will your family feel when you kick them out because you are dead now? And no one is ready to take care of your 3, 4, 5, 6 children. Do you get it? If you're not thinking that far, you're not thinking. Should be in your will. May thy will be done. It's law. Use the law. Use the system. Sometimes you have to use the system to protect your own. Protect your young ones. Because your grandfathers are not protecting your young ones. Your own father is not protecting your young ones. Your own mother is not protecting your young ones. So how are you going to protect your young ones? Who's going to protect your young ones when you are gone? Even for the young women, we've been losing you in hospitals, botched pregnancies. Your children are left behind with your father. A father is left with 2 children. Mnakuja TikTok, mnawafurahia siku mbili mbili, and then mnawasahau. So what happens to those fathers now? Not because of the fathers, but the children. Will these children grow up, and when they are grown, will these children be people who can change the world? Are they healed children, or is more generational curses, or is more generational traumas being left behind? Shout out to Sundiata. Those kind of conversations are the conversations that the men should be having. Not Man U, not semi-finals, year in, year out. Fuck those teams. Those are arena games. You'll always be stuck in those arena games. Hakuna mahali football inaenda. Ask me about the games I have created. Wait for them. You'll see them. Because I have real balls, and I drop my balls on the table. Africans, you have no sports. How about you create your own sports? Your high jump is not for you, it's for the lazy. Masai, kurukaruka ya Masai inafaa kuwa kwa Olympics. How high they can jump, that should be in the Olympics, but you're always shortchanged because they know hawezi win. Imagine now in a school, hiyo inakuanga ni game, how high can we jump? Munavunja record, world record. You gave the games to them, it's their Olympics, it's their games. You can create your own games, Africans, your own wrestling. Mukahakana maguta mukathaka wrestling. Mwenye anaweza shikwa bila kumonyoka the longest, but you don't know how to create anything. You're always coming after. Because you're no longer builders. You are consumers. You forgot your power. You forgot your melanin. You claim you have melanin. You don't have melanin. Because when I look around you, you cannot even protect your young ones. So how can you build? And you're building for whom? We cannot continue saying that our grandfathers were great. Our grandfathers were not late. They were not great. They left no names. When I look into the world, I see other people's names and statues on top of buildings. I don't see our grandfathers. But I hear their crying tales, their wailing of being slaves, of being Mau Mau fighters, of being something, never being the great ones, never breaking land, never buying land abroad, never traveling in boats. Wakati ya kuambiana ukweli, all that comes from small balls. Not learning how to build, how to protect your young ones. You cannot build when your young ones are being eaten by the society, by the world. Meiru mwasa okia mesie. Daddy issues. Father issues. So who's going to protect you now when you are gone? Who's going to protect your children when you are gone? Then why have them if you cannot protect them? Those kind of conversations. So the things that you are victimizing were given to you with a purpose and reason. But you didn't see it coming until it's too late. So shout out to everyone out there. Shout out to all the spirits out there. Chega wa muthaka, Mubui wa Bariabu. It's the Sabbath, mini Ramadan. Today you are supposed to do a little decluttering. If you have your own compound, you sweep your own compound. Ogoni uri thenge, hindi niguo mundu oyaga thenge igongona ria kuingata guthengia uru koya thenge yaku. It's a ritual. Ukathengia uru nginya ukorwo mucie. Ukahaka andu aku maguta, ukahaka andu aku icoka, ukamahaka ira iria ungiheana cia ira, wa ira, ukamatheria maira magathera. Okay, the Sabbath ucio ni uigiriki wa ugongoni wa mundurume oithe ni ugongoni. That is why when you go to the Catholics, the fathers, wanaitangwa father. The reason you unamuita father padre is because father ni ugongoni, priesthood, kufanya rituals. Nikio unamuita father in the church. In the church mnamuita father na mother. Priesthood. So take over your priesthood as African men. Start practicing your rituals. Very ado kwenu wewe na wigiriki. Then God is going to give you all that wisdom and all the other things that you are supposed to do. Protect your family. Protect your balls if you have any left. Those are the kind of conversations I would like. The Indians can teach you. I spoke to one of my friends the other day. My friend, his name is Vijay. So he passed on in December. May his soul rest in peace. So now, if you go to my older page, Jagamu Dhaka, the older page, and nakuanga nimevaa aquamarine sia green na kofia. If you go there, you'll find me in a marathon we did with him, Masai Mara. Hata ukitaipa hapo Masai Mara, that guy. So when the wife called me to inform me, I said, "Are you okay?" She said, "I'm okay, Jenga, because the family is going to take care of me." He was a fighter, but the family got our back. She's not worried. Those are the Indians. For you, if you are left by your husband, that's the end of you. Urudi kwenyu na watoto. Now you have to hustle harder, pay for school fees. Now you have to open your legs more often. Not as often as you're opening for your husband, because now you have to fulfill your duties and obligation. And you already have children, so maybe even your market value has been deflated. And it shouldn't. Because we should have systems to protect our children and our women left behind, but we don't. Because our parents have not even showed us. Our parents hata hatuwezi lima mishamba zao. Our grandparents hated us. They left us nothing. So, oria twatigirwo ni gikuyu weru ciana cia ndigwa no gwe turathi na mbere. We are repeating the same generational curses, the same generational traumas. We are not changing. But it's a high time we start changing these things. It's a high time. However fake your will looks like, write it. May thy will be done when you are not here. You never know. Write it down. Hata kama ni logbook, it's enough. Write it down. This is for my children. This is for my wife, my spouse, whatever they represent to you. That piece of land is for my children. Make it be known. If I'm not here, my wife will handle everything. Never overlook her. Because she's the one who has been with you all this life, not your parents. Omire kwanyu na miaka 18 warĩkia keri ũkĩrwo ũmĩrie. Kũgũra mwacemanire mũkĩanjia nake maica no okũĩ we mũgima aciari aku makwĩ mwana. So how dare they come and they overrun her? Ati ni ithuĩ aciari we ikara kando we mũka wake ni ithuĩ tũĩ. Makamenya kĩ? Maramenya o gĩthuria. Maramenya o kĩrĩra. They were not there. So respect hawa watu wako hapa kando. Respect them. Take care of them. Even if they're not taking care of you, take care of them. Men. Because that is what is going to take care of your children when you are gone. Your generation. What may wheel you down here? Your children. So, nigetha matiga ucokie thina uria urari naguo, reincarnation, if you are going to come through them, let them return you to bigger minds, their safety, security, structure, and stability. that you ensured in one way, shape, or another happened. Someone was there to mentor them. You can share the message if you want. If you don't want to share it, it's okay, bado. You can practice what you have learned if you want. Kama utaki, it's okay, bado. Mi yangu nimesema. Don't hate the messenger, take the message. My work is done. Talking is God. In the beginning was the word. Whatever you do with the message is up to you. Ciao, ciao. Ciao, ciao.